Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. I've been waiting for this one for a very long time. It is round 4 of the Majors series for 2023. Us here on SimSpeed are broadcasting split 1 of the Pacific region, and our friends at BRTV are broadcasting the second split. Make sure to head over there as well if you want to watch the action completely tonight. This is a fantastic round. We're going to be racing TCR cars at Knockhill using a very interesting heat format. 324 lap races coming up for you tonight across YouTube, Facebook and Twitch. And to bring it to you all live is myself, Reese Gardner, with Jay Kennedy alongside me in the commentary box. Jay Kennedy is also handling the broadcast behind the scenes, bringing you these live pictures across your streaming platforms. Well, Jay, this is going to be a fantastic race. Honestly, I reiterate, I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. I love TCR racing. I love Knockhill. This is one of the best rounds of the season for me already.
Yeah, I agree. We're both very, very big fans of TCR racing. So front-wheel drive racing, touring car action is both of our wheelhouses. We both love this style of racing, and this track is absolutely perfect for them. You look at it on paper, it may not seem to be the case, but when you go and do laps, you think, oh wow, this is a crazy ride. It is a crazy track. It is a very, very short track, only 9 turns, but it provides interesting racing because the elevation around this place can impact your driving lines, and if we see a bit of too wide action through some of the track, it's going to provide some absolutely crazy action.
Yeah, for sure. And we zoom on in to see Knockhill race circuit in Fife, Scotland. This is one of Scotland's only motorsport venues, and the premier one too, famous for hosting the Scottish round of the British Touring Car Championship, and it's quite the venue. It's only 2Ks long. It's got a rallycross circuit as well, but elevation change is the name of the game here. This thing goes up and down hills wherever you are. You don't get an opportunity to rest around here.
100%. It's even the straight isn't straight, so the two main straights aren't straight at all, so you've really got to be on your game. I think 24 laps is about the limit you'd want at this track tonight, because you don't want to be working any harder than that with these cars, with huge fields too, 32 cars in each race or thereabouts. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who has the stamina to get themselves through. The other part that we should mention is as we get into the racing, the last race tonight is the only one that scores points. The two races previous are basically the qualifiers to get you into the points paying race. You want to get to the main event, race 3, you want to get into the top split, which we will have here on SimSpeed, but if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a lower points paying event.
Yeah, indeed. This is definitely something that the drivers will be thinking about as they make their final preparations for this race. That's the format there. The top 16 from race 1 advance, and they will go through to the second race where the top 26 advance, and then of course race 3 being the points payer tonight. And well, Knockhill does have at least one overtaking opportunity at the hairpin at the final corner, but otherwise it can be very hard to pass. I mean, this shot just shows it all. My favorite corner on the circuit, and probably the most famous complex at this track, this uphill chicane. It's completely blind on the way in. You tip the car into that corner, you don't know how it's going to come out.
100%. You've got no idea whether the car's going to respond to your inputs, whether the car will bounce over the curbs, whether someone's sitting there across the track with an incident in front of you. So you've got to be very, very careful, but you've got to be aggressive to make sure that you don't leave yourself susceptible to an overtake at the next corner.
Yeah, indeed. And it's an incredibly short track as well, so there's absolutely no opportunity to take a break from the corners that come thick and fast around here. Lap times in practice are in the 51-second bracket at the top of the field. And topping the timesheets is Justin Morton, who's currently second place in the championship, only a few points behind our championship leader. It's looking very close at the top of the standings here, with Christian Challoner only 4 points ahead.
Yeah, it's really tight, isn't it? It's great to see how close this championship is. I mean, we're only 3 rounds of 11 in, but it's shaping up to be an absolutely phenomenal season with how tight this championship is at the moment. So fingers crossed we see it this close all the way through. Going to be absolutely epic. I cannot wait to see how close it is by the end, because I feel like this is going to be incredibly tight the whole way through.
Yeah, indeed. We see that Nathan Dowd and Travis Warling aren't that far apart either, so there's plenty of opportunities for jostling of points at this round, considering how chaotic TCR racing is known to be, and once again, the nature of this circuit. Well, final few minutes of practice underway here, and Morton is still on top, but as we briefly check out the sportsman's standings there, oh goodness me.
That's what can happen?
Yes, yeah, indeed. That it's an old school circuit here at Knockhill. There's plenty of grass and gravel around the outside of the circuit to catch you out. But Forge Gold's Justin Morton showing us the railway straight, which, fun fact, actually used to be a railway line before the circuit was built. In this final corner, it's very wide through there, but you have to concentrate on the exit to get a good run down the start, finish straight. And this first half of the circuit, Jay, is just phenomenal. Have a look at this.
Yeah, this is great. You go downhill through turn 1. You've got to be aggressive, but not too aggressive so you don't run wide. Then you've got to really hug turn 2. And turn 3 opens up a little bit in the middle of the apex, but then closes up tight. Turn 4 here, then through the chicane at 5. You see, you can't see a thing where turn 6 is. You've got to trust your instincts and trust your practice. As I said before, if you run wide through 6, you leave yourself open to a pass through 7 here. Then you get a little bit of a breather for a couple of seconds. But if you're in a battle, you probably can't breathe too much at all. And then you've got the long run, that's through 8. And then the final corner here, turn 9, heavy braking zone. And this is our true passing opportunity into the hairpin, which is then uphill at the exit of the corner. So if you miss a gear or you mistime your run there, mistime when you put your foot on the power, you can find yourself open to then a move at turn 1. How quick is that lap done? 53 seconds and we're all done.
Yeah, absolutely. That was 2 seconds slower than Justin Morton's fastest. So that shows you how rapid this track is. When Knockhill was announced to be added to iRacing, that's probably the most hyped I've ever been for a track release, other than the Australian ones, of course. Cool, and that's something you got to watch out for. Cars running a little bit poorly through the chicane, and then you have to really back off across these corners. It's good to see also that there's a nice variety of cars, as Gamers Holy Army brought up in the broadcast chat. Usually the Hyundai Elantra is the car to have in the TCR class, with the Veloster also having very good representation. But we've got Honda Civics and Audi RS3s in here as well, and one of them is second place right now, with Nathan Dowd up there as well. No, actually, sorry, my apologies. It's Jonathan Danson 7th, who is that Audi. But good to see that we have a nice varied grid here.
Yeah, exactly right. So we've got both of the Hyundais, the Elantra and the Veloster out there, and then, as I said, we've got the Honda and the Audi, but top 7 has all of those 4 different classes of car within it. So that's always a good sign when you've got a good mix of drivers of all different cars within that top few. If you get 4 different makes of car, I mean, sure, there's 2 Hyundais, but they are different. If you've got 4 different makes and they're all within the top 10, you usually think that's pretty good parity. So I think that's pretty good. And those, I mean, there is 7 tenths between, but we know that this being just a warm-up session, some drivers have gone out there on low fuel, others have just gone out there in full race prep. So the times themselves may not mean too much at this stage, but I think the fact that we've got a bit of a mix is great to see.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Really awesome field as well, and great to see that there is a ton of drivers out there at the moment. Just a really nice race in terms of numbers that we've got here. After, you know, there's been some races in Majors history that have had small fields, but the racing has still been very good. With this many cars out on track, I think what we're seeing in this shot is going to be the case all throughout the night. Yeah,
and of course we'll keep a focus mainly on the transfer positions. So around, for this race, it'll be around P16. Top 16 will automatically progress through to top split of race of the second group of races. And the bottom will then go down into the other group of races. And then from there, top 6 in split 2. Race 2 will progress into the main race of split 1. The bottom 6, they'll find themselves off racing for points in split 2. So it sounds confusing. Basically, you just want to finish in the top half of every race to get yourself in the main event. That's a simple way to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a bit of a complex format, but I'm sure
it sounds more complex than it is, I think.
Yeah. That was my thoughts when I first saw it. I thought to myself, oh dear, how am I going to work this out? But all we have to focus on really is the transfer spots. That's going to be the main talking point of the night, at least until we get to race 3, which of course is the points-paying race. Well, less than 40 seconds remaining in the practice session, and we'll be able to get racing here. Drivers have already pre-qualified.
I love the movement of the cars through that shot there. They're just all over the place. Yeah, you're right. The drivers are already pre-qualified. So the grid is already set based on pre-qualifying times from earlier in the week. Get that grid up for you in a few seconds, because drivers are now, no time to get into practice. It's race time. Race 1 is about to start.
That it is. Just 5 seconds to go. And we'll be able to see how the drivers start on this first initial race here at Knockhill Race Circuit. Very historic track here, and this might very well be a historic round of the Majors series as we get into the grid here, starting on pole position. is going to be Christian Challoner, the championship leader. Miles Crabb will join him on the front row of the grid. Then we have P2 in the championship, Justin Morton in the Hyundai Veloster, starting alongside Tom Abramatis in the Civic, Nathan Dowd and Brian Bennett on the second row. Really good variety of Hondas and Hyundais in the top 10 here. Brenton Foster and Gavin Barber 7th and 8th, with Eric Smith and Garen Batten 9th and 10th.
Yeah, from there, 11th and 12th is Gambit and Alessi, with Banks and Bradbury next. From there, actually, we're going to have to stop because they're ready to go.
Oh yeah, goodness, this is a very quick gridding time. Here we are then, standing start in the TCRs, and we are away for round 4 of the Major Series. A good start from Christian Challoner in his Honda Civic. It looks like Miles Crabb is able to keep up with him, but Justin Morton getting a very good start and putting himself into third. Nathan Dowd versus Tom Abramatis behind, with Brenton Foster looking to seek as well. Look at this pack for 5th on back though. 7th on back, sorry. Brian Bennett leading the charge with Eric Smith, and then Gamble, Alessi, Batten, Banks, Barber, Shelford. Oh goodness.
Oh, held on. I've held on. Made it through.
Oh boy. All right. Going off track though. Our 333 of Mark Santana. He has to go wide here. That's going to result in a poor run down the railway straight. But just like that, lap 1 is already done. Challoner leads out of the final corner. But it's a race for second. Miles Crabb holding off Justin Morton. Robbie Bradbury, meanwhile, he's trying his best to make up places. And looks like he's lost out a little bit to Jonathan Dance out of the final corner. But keeping it clean as they make their way through. Tell you what, biggest position gainer is Rob Powers at the moment. Problems for Wayne Hutchison, meanwhile. He's gone off at the final corner. It looks like Phil Otto's had problems as well, missing the front end there. Looks like there's been a smash at the final turn, but I don't know if we'll get an opportunity to see it again.
Yeah, well, we might wait until after the race, in between the race 1 and race 2, before we get too many replays. But Challoner checking out. Justin Morton trying his best to try and get this position here on Crabb. That rest of the field pretty much single file the whole way though.
Yeah, it looks like it. Things have settled down a little bit, but then we'll see drivers get into a rhythm as the tyres heat up and see if they can make some moves. Challoner is breaking away from these guys on screen at the moment, and have a look at that. Fastest lap already, 52.7, as we see Justin Morton now trying to hunt down second place. Miles Crabb has done very well to keep second place so far. Have a look at how aggressive Morton is across the top of the hill. That's one of the places on the circuit where you can stand to gain a lot of time. Right on the bumper, and oh, unfortunately, he's run a little bit wide, didn't quite hit the curb. That's going to be the railway straight, gone for the time being. Tom Abramatis, meanwhile, trying his best to keep up with these guys. Oh, there we go. That's going to be a move up the inside further back. Honda versus Hyundai.
Gavin Barber and, just seeing here, Morton's really unhappy on something that's just happened there. So he's lost 2 spots to Dowd and Abramatis. I'm thinking, just judging by the body language, I think he may have actually had contact.
It was traffic. Adam Johnson in the hairpin. Unfortunately, he was sticking to the inside of the hairpin and slowed down on exit. Justin Morton thought he could go up the inside, but ended up having to check up, and that's how he lost those positions. He is now back in 4th. Oh dear. Take it easy, everybody.
Let's Gamble and Shelford around at the chicane, at the exit of the chicane. And they've both dropped outside that top 16 now. So we were seeing their battle between Barber and Sheridan for the 16th spot, but that's all done now. And now Don Parks is the driver on the outside looking in and maybe close enough to potentially steal a spot here.
Now that incident happened because Gamble unfortunately got crossed up over the top of the hill and ended up spinning, and there was nothing that Shelford could do to avoid it. On board with Don Parks. And have a look at this pack ahead, gaining a lot of time through the first corner here. It's Stephen Paulison up ahead of him in the Veloster.
Ooh, big slide.
Big slide for Alexander Sheridan in the Audi. This is a really fantastic race so far. plenty of problems for drivers throughout the field, but I've seen, for the most part, that the race for the front is looking very good, at least for Christian Challoner.
Yeah, Challoner's checked out, although Miles Crabbe has definitely got some good pace. He's just set the fastest lap back-to-back. We know that these cars do get faster as they go on because tyres seem to blast around about the 20-25 minute mark, and then on top of that you've got the fuel load dropping off. Being front wheel drive, the rear tyres won't have to work too hard, so we'll see the tyre life be okay throughout this race as well. We shouldn't see too many issues with drivers struggling for tyres at the end.
Yeah, of course. With the lap being as short as it is, races are going to be under half an hour in length by some margin. The fight continues into the final corner, though. Justin Morton trying to make up places that he lost thanks to that incident with the traffic. At the moment, it seems that the Civic pair of Dowd and Abramadis have the edge on him, and Miles Crabbe continuing in second in his Hyundai Elantra. Challoner leading by 1.3 seconds. I think it's going to be difficult to catch him from here unless he makes a mistake.
Morton having some tech issues. Just seeing him drop off the timing sheet, so fingers crossed that sorts itself out very quickly for him. Still see him going and working away on Zoom. There he goes. He's reappeared for me. So he's back in the race, thankfully. That would have been heartbreaking if he had disappeared from fifth, though.
Yeah, that would have been horrendous there for Justin Morton, making a bad race even worse. Looks like we have a car slow and with damage. Jason Lockridge in car 03. He's staying off the circuit, though, and letting everyone go. That's one of the Middle Finger Racing cars. Very unfortunate. He was running down the field, but it seems that whatever problems he was already facing, they have got much worse. And I could see that he already had damage, but a second crash at the top of the hill really put him out of whack. All right then, battle for 13th place. Gavin Barber, Robbie Bradbury, and everyone down to 19th at the moment, trying to find a spot here. Already a third of the way through this race. And there's still plenty that could happen from here, like potentially Garen Batten versus Stephen Banks. Garen running off the circuit up the top of the hill and was a little bit slow. That allowed Stephen Banks to catch up to him here. This is the battle for 10th place at the moment. And oh dear, that's wide, very wide for Batten in the final corner, but he manages to gather it up and get a good exit using the outside line, straightened up the steering a little bit sooner. But I think Garen might be in a bit of trouble here, and Banks will be pressuring him.
Jonathan Dance is starting to close in on these guys as well, so it's turning into a three-car fight. The thing that some of these drivers may need to remember is this is a qualifying race. Sure, you want to finish as high as you can, but you don't want to do anything silly to cost yourself ground because you just want to get into that point-scoring race. Of course, if you do finish better in this race, it will help you have a better chance of finishing higher in the next race. But you don't want to do something like try and make a 50-50 move, because it could cost you and force you back into the other races later on in the night, or day. I say night as we're both enjoying a coffee at the moment, Rex. It is rather early.
Yeah, it is. It's just gone past 9 in the morning for me here in Perth, Western Australia. So I am still waking up. That might explain why I'm a little bit rusty. And take it easy, everybody. Very short braking zone for the fast first corner, but Alessi managing to gather it up.
Yeah, just gathering it up too. So he did just hold on. So didn't make any contact. We did see him lose a spot end of the previous lap there to Garen Batten. Now may lose another spot here to Stephen Banks. So Banks tried to throw it up the inside, and now's got a poor run, and now Jonathan Dance has a chance here of getting the move done. Shows how quickly things can change at this track.
Yeah, many changes, and oh dear, I have just seen a problem for Rob Powers in the Hyundai Veloster as the overtake is made there. The 010 making a move, but Powers, He had a big slide at the top of the hill, and that's something that Powers is going to have to sort out. He's the car with the most positions gained in the whole field. He is up 12 spots and solidly into 21st place. But remember, it is 16th place that we need to keep an eye on, because that is the transfer spot for the second race. Here comes Stephen Paulison, and up the inside of the Audi, Alexander Sheridan having to make some room there. That was a very interesting place to make the move. Don't often see overtakes at that section, but evidently Sheridan didn't get a very good run across the top of the hill, and now has to concede the position. Don Parks will be looking to make a move on his fellow Audi now.
Yeah, and of course, Parks sitting in P17, that's not the position he wants. He wants to try and get on through and into that top 16. They need to get this spot done ASAP as we hit the halfway point of the race at the end of this lap. So not many opportunities left for him to get moves done. As running wide there, Paulison. Oh, don't go too wide through here. This is dangerous.
Oh, Alexander Sheridan all over the curbs, but he has to yield, and he's gone too deep. That allows Don Parks through.
Parks now into 16th and Sheridan on the outside looking in. And he's lost a whole heap of ground too. He looks like he might be a little bit rattled here. He just has lost all momentum, all concentration, all drive, all power. He's looking a little bit rattled here and may lose another spot. David Hall coming in quick.
Yes, indeed. Hall looking quite fast here. We'll check out the lap times here to see how much time Alexander Sheridan lost to David Hall here. 55.3 second lap time for Alexander Sheridan. 52.79 for David Hall. So much time gained there for the Hyundai, and his teammate Ken Leung is running behind as well. These two looking to try and break into the top 16, but it's going to be a difficult ask with Don Parks as far ahead as he is. Can they make up that time by the end?
Although, if the front keeps fighting like they are, there's every chance that some of these guys get involved in an incident and find themselves back in the field. So, just so Abramatis and Morton side by side there as they come past the lap car. Look at the slide through there, just bouncing it off the curves. That is cool from Abramatis.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Abramatis driving the Honda Civic, of course, which is notorious in the TCR community for not being the best across curbs and big bumps. Morton using the nice handling of his Hyundai Veloster to catch up through the thick and fast.
That looks more like Morton.
Lap.
Yeah. Did a little misclick there and had the wrong person up on Zoom. That's always handy. Morton doesn't look as flustered as he did a few minutes ago. I'll tell you one thing I've just noticed. We do probably have to look at this. Christian Challoner is losing ground at the front of the field. It's now down to 0.7 of a second. Miles Crab's closing, but oh!
Yeah, he's closing, but Robert Gamble, lapped car, has stymied his run a little bit. Looks like Challoner, I think, might have just built a gap and maybe is just trying to manage it now at the moment to avoid making a mistake. But for all we know, he could have made a couple of errors as well. Regardless, it seems that, unfortunately, Miles Crab's run is stopped for now. Have a look at this. Meanwhile, Justin Morton on the back of Tom Abramatis, and they've got a lap car to deal with as well. Timothy Klaus there in the purple Hyundai Elantra. Up the inside they both go, and plenty of room given by car 80. Good to see. Looks like Brenton Foster is just about being let through as well. I think that Klaus is going to have to yield on the way into turn 1, but the battle continues here. And Abramatis holding him off for the time being.
Back on for 16th, important position. Parks now feeling a lot of pressure from Alexander Sheridan behind.
Looks like Sheridan has regained his momentum.
Got his mojo back.
Yeah, just slightly. 9 laps to go for these drivers. And Parks absolutely vaulting over that turn 1 curb. This is the part of the circuit where you get no opportunity to rest. You are braking and turning all the time in this part of the track. But it looks like the two Audis roughly equal in their run off the top of the hill. Not much opportunity for slipstreaming either because the straights are so short. It's all about consistency. It's all about getting the power down in the right way.
Saw fastest lap back for Christian Challoner. He's taken that fastest lap back again. And now got it out to a 2.3 second lead at the front, but Parks is doing enough to hold on to this spot for now. So I don't think it's settled here because David Hall's still coming as well. Background, I think it's between these three for that last spot. Hey, what, Sheridan nearly rolled the car then.
Yeah, he did. He went way over the curb at turn 3, and oh, have a look at that. Looks like Morton has managed to get by Tom Abramatis, but the Civic has the better run around the outside on the exit of the hairpin. This is going to be hard here for Justin Morton. He's got second place in the championship to preserve, and he isn't able to get it done. Has to yield on the way into turn 1. That brings Brenton Foster right into the fight. He gets onto the rear bumper of car number 9.
What a great fight this is. This is brilliant to watch. We're going to get a quick replay, Riso, because this was absolutely epic.
It was indeed. Have a look at this curb strike from Alexander Sheridan. Goodness me. For a minute there, none of the wheels were touching the ground. That was fantastic. Of course, it didn't quite help his run through the corner.
Absolutely killed his momentum and his pace, but it looked absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we love TCR Racing. Drivers take these risks and they use the curbs as much as they possibly can. Well, the fight is still burning brightly here for second place, and seeing that Abramatis was under as much threat as he was, I get the feeling Justin Morton will be having another try at him in these last 6 or so laps, and they got a bit of traffic. Javier Perez Torres, he gets out of the way very quickly though and lets our second place battle through. A really good run from Justin Morton out the top of the hill through the chicane. Let's see if he's got the run he needs for a move at the final hairpin. A little bit of gravel for Tom Abramatis, but you kind of need to use the gravel a little bit to get a good run out of the corner. Sheridan, meanwhile, still chasing down Don Parks for 16th. Will he be able to get that back?
Got the battle for 16th on the bottom of shot, but this battle at the front here, this is now truly, as you said, a battle for second. Miles Crabb has dropped back, Nathan Dowd and the rest of the group has followed along. So lap traffic starting to cause some issues for these guys at the front. It's meant that this group has well and truly closed up. You can see at the bottom of the screen, Sheridan not quite close enough to apply pressure to Don Parks yet, but I don't think it's far away from him making a big lunge.
Yeah, and up the top, have a look at the traffic that the leaders are having to deal with here. Miles Crabb is right up behind Brian Scrivener, and Brett Trosen lifts off slightly to let our our third place battle through. Trosen currently in 23rd spot, but he might make things a bit difficult for the last two in that fight. Brenton Foster having to go wide to avoid the Audi on the inside of the corner.
4 laps to go in this race now, so not much racing left in this one. It's getting quite heated at the front. The back is still not quite there for a move. We'll bring you that action if anything closes up, but how tight is this? The lap traffic are trying their best to get out of the way, but where do you go when the track is literally one line?
Yeah, exactly, and you know there's no space between the corners and the first part of the track either, so they have to wait for the railway straight to let people by. This is fantastic. Brian Scrivener is in front of Nathan Dowd here, looking back at Tom Abramatis, and drivers are on the headlight flash here saying, "We gotta go, guys, let us through," and Scrivener runs wide and lets the first 2 cars of that fight through. Justin Morton, I think, will get by him.
Look at the gap. The Challoner's now broken away now that he's got a bit of clear track. That to 4.5 seconds. So only a couple of laps ago we were talking about the lead potentially being on. There's Miles Crabb there. So let's look through the chicane. There goes Challoner. Here comes Crabb. Then Dowd is now 2.5 seconds back. We said not that long ago it was a battle for second as well. And now they've all stretched out again.
Yeah, that they have. Right at the very end of the race, only 3 laps to go, and it's going to be 2 in just a few moments for Christian Challoner, who leads by 4.7 seconds. And that's the kind of advantage that you want at a track like this, on your own, not having to deal with traffic. And oh, there we go. A bit wide for the lap traffic of Wayne Hutchison. And that at least lets Nathan Dowd through, but it seems like Abramatis, Morton and Foster have a little bit more work to do coming into turn 1. What's Hutchison going to do here? Manages to stay on line through turns 1 and 2. And yeah, I mean, there's no space to really let cars through unless they dive up the inside like Abramatis does. And there we go. Hutchison has to concede that.
Yeah, Abramatis made a gap and Morton decided, well, I'll take that gap too. So very, very good little battle, but we're about to get the white flag on this race. Amazing how fast this one's gone. We've still got 2 more, and they're going to be even more heated and more hotly contested the next time out. Christian Challoner about to take the white flag. And then the important battle for P16 and 17, still as it was, around about that half-second margin. So it's not enough at the moment for Sheridan to... Well, sorry, it's too much at the moment for Sheridan to make a lunge. It only takes 1 lapped car in the wrong spot, or 1 minor brake lock-up, 1 missed apex, 1 bad corner for this to all change.
Yeah, plenty to race for here in the battle for 16th spot. Don Parks and Alexander Sheridan about to take the white flag, and the pressure will be on Parks here in the 726. Sheridan, he's just not close enough to really have a run on Parks at the moment. But checkered flag is out for Christian Challoner, and that is a dominant performance in the first race here for our championship leader, the Mega Racing Team driver, across the line and wins the first race here. Of course, no points. It is going to be a qualifier for race 2.
Well, this is closed up.
In second. It has really closed up, hasn't it? Sheridan might just have a move here at the hairpin. Is there going to be a desperate lunge here to try and keep his night alive? Oh, he can't do it. The middle of the track is protected by Don Parks, but he runs wide at the exit. No, it's not going to happen. The momentum is just not enough for Alexander Sheridan, and he'll only miss out on keeping himself in the night
0.2
by 0.2 of a second. Man, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Wow, what a battle that was all the way to the end. For that battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th on back, that was on all race, and then that battle right at the end there, almost, I think 1 more lap, I think Sheridan might have been able to get that done, but great job from Don Parks to hold on. We'll see him in the next race.
We will indeed, along with the rest of the top 16 as we go through our results here. Christian Challoner by 4.6 seconds over Miles Crabb and Nathan Dowd. Tom Abramatis managing to hold off Justin Morton, and Brenton Foster another half a second behind. And then there was a huge gap back to Eric Smith, Brian Bennett, and Garen Batten and Stephen Banks, only crossing the line 0.6 apart as well.
And Alessi and Dance will go through with Bradbury, Barber and Paulison, and then Don Parks, as we saw, holds on the 16th. The rest of the drivers will go off into split 2 for the next round of races. Sheridan, Hall, Leung and Shelford rounding out the top 20.
Finishing in 21st, first car a lap down, Wayne Hutchison, and he's joined a lap down by Scrivener, Gamble, Santana, Klaus, Partridge, Johnson and Stefan. Trosen, Torres, Lockridge and Otto 2 laps down, and unfortunately Rob Powers, we saw that he was gaining a lot of places early on. He suffered an issue and had to retire 6 laps from the end. That's a real shame there for Rob Powers, but we will continue to move on here in the night for round 4 of the Majors Series from Knockhill. We've got 2 more races to come here, and we will have a mixed up grid. Stay with us here on SimSpeed TV. We're going to step aside briefly. We'll be back very shortly for some more TCR action.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
We're watching SimSpeed TV here, the Majors Series Round 4. Reese Gardner and Jay Kennedy with you. We're going to take another look at one of the incidents that happened in Race 1, just to see what got Justin Morton so animated on Zoom. This was a bit of an incident with lapped traffic, and Morton trying his best to chase down Miles Crabb for second here in the first race. Challoner wasn't too far ahead at this point, but Jay, it all came down to this final hairpin.
Yeah, and you can see the lap traffic trying to do best to get out of the way, but it's just so awkward. And you see there, Morton tries to go up the inside thinking that there's going to be a gap, and then, oh, hang on, there's nowhere to go. And then it's cost him 2-3 spots potentially, because he was likely to get the move done. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate incident, but just shows how easy things can go.
Yeah, on board here from Morton. He thought he could go up the inside of Crabb, but then, yeah, unfortunately...
I think part of it, he may not have even realised that traffic was there. When he went up the inside, at the point that he turned it in, he may not have realised they were there.
That's potentially a reason, but regardless, it means that Morton's going to have to start a little further back than he'd like for the second heat here tonight. And of course, that's not going to mean anything for him in terms of the points. Remember, the first two races tonight are only there to set the grid for the points-paying final race. So there's potential here for Justin Morton to make up a couple more positions and work his way through, potentially challenge Christian Challoner. But as we saw in race 1, Jay, it is tough at the very least.
Yeah, 100%. And anything can happen here too. So still plenty of opportunities. We've had some drivers from second split say that there was a fair bit of carnage going on there and positions were getting shuffled very, very quickly. There we've seen drivers come from the back to the front and vice versa. So just out of interest in split 2, Travis Walling picked up the win in that race. Peterson and Hinz, your top 3. The last driver to get on through is Shane Vickery. So we're going to see a whole heap of different names in this next race, which will be very tasty because it's going to be an eventful race.
Yeah, quite eventful. There's going to be 2 differing sets of drivers who will be familiar with their own group but not the other. So there's going to be an adjustment period, I think, in this second race where people try their best to work out where they stand and what kinds of moves they can make.
Hopefully we don't see too many egos come through as well, because we have seen in the past, I'm not saying names or anything, but we have seen drivers that sometimes feel like they should be in other races or other positions that can get a little bit hot-headed. So hopefully we don't see too many incidents. Hopefully we see nice and smooth, and fingers crossed we don't see too much lap traffic in this one. It's not that the lap traffic did anything wrong, it's just hopefully we don't actually see any. Hopefully we see a bit cleaner in this race here. We're not far away from getting that second race up and running as well. It's not far away.
Yeah, not far away at all. The session should be going up in about 4 minutes time, which means we can step aside once again very briefly here on SimSpeed TV and get ready for race 2 of the Majors Round 4. Of course, supporting once again charity for this round. It is the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, which is a non-profit organization run by and for autistic people. They fight for disability rights and make sure that autistic people are included in policy making. Go to autisticadvocacy.org to donate and support the cause. We'll be back very shortly on SimSpeed TV.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
The Majors Series Round 4 at Knockhill in TCR machinery. MTCR has already gone off tonight in the first race of Split 1 here on SimSpeed TV, and gotta say, it's been a wild ride so far. The ride will continue. We're now in the middle phase of this action for this round, and we have some more drivers joining us. The top from the race from the second split that was running concurrently with this one. It's another 30+ car grid here. Reese Gardner and Jay Kennedy with you once more for the next round of action. And well, this is going to be an interesting one, Jay. As we said during the break, it's going to be difficult for these drivers to really suss themselves out, because they're going to be starting, mixed in with drivers that they haven't raced with yet tonight.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to work hard to get a bit of an understanding on who they're racing with. I mean, a lot of the drivers would have raced with each other previously, but we were just having a little look while we had our swap over there at who's missed out that we thought should be in. And former series champion of the international region, Sam Harper, has missed out and is not in this race. So he's finished 24th in that first race. He's going to have to work hard to make the main event.
Yeah, he is going to have to work very hard indeed. We'll remind you of the format that's happening for this round. Well, we have the top 16 from Heat 2 joining us in the Heat 1 split, and the bottom 16 moving back to the second split, and then we have the top 24, I believe, from this race moving on into the final race of race 3, Heat 1. So this is going to be quite a difficult one. Top 26, my apologies. But race 3 is where the points are paid. So every driver here will be hoping that they get into those that top 26. There's a little bit more margin for error than there was in the first race, but again, the mixed field is going to throw up a few curveballs.
Yeah, I think the mixed up field's going to throw a few people off, and a few drivers that we probably would have thought would have been in this race to start with, like is in the top split to start with, have now joined, and we've got drivers that we thought should have gone on through that now are out. So it's going to be very mixed up, and it's going to be interesting to see who makes the final points paying race as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this race plays out and how the rest of the event plays out. But this track already is providing some absolutely insane and fun and entertaining racing. There's some drivers trying to work out where the limit is.
Yeah.
I could quite happily sit and just watch the race from this angle all the way through.
Yeah, if I were ever to go to Knockhill in real life, this is where I'd be sitting, because
I'd be elbowing people out of the way so I could have this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the best places to watch racing in the world, I think. Just seeing the sheer amount of movement of these cars over the top of the hill, and it's not unusual to see drivers getting airborne. Well, as Majors Garage is pointing out in the chat, don't forget that top 6 from the second race in this heat will make it through to the final race grid for this first split. So we need to make sure we're keeping an eye on the results from that as well, because we're going to have 6 more drivers joining us after this race is concluded, or potentially rejoining, because obviously we have a snake split format for this one. Drivers will go up and up again, or down and up and down again, depending on how well you do.
I know if I was in it, I'd just be lots of down. But, I was going to say a joke, but then I realised that half of our audience wouldn't understand it about being working for Coles or something. Grace, you would have understood what I was saying there.
Yeah, of course. Very
Much an
very
Australian meme.
iconic. Yes, marketing slogan. I had that meme pulled on me once when back V8 Scots at Imola a few years ago on the final lap. I was saying down, down, down. They go through
Yes,
the hill.
and someone remixed it into the advert. I remember that.
Yep, they did. that was funny. That was a good one. But we see that drivers are already getting racy in this 10-minute warm-up session. Plenty of fighting to be done. Dean Alessi, Brian Barnes, Nick McMillan, Christian Challoner, Nathan Dowd, and oh dear, that's Garen Batten, unfortunately, with a big slide and massive contact. Hopefully we don't see too much of that in the race. And I think all things considered, we did have a few incidents in the first heat here, but I'm pretty happy with how clean it was in general.
Yeah, I mean, there were some issues, definitely, but the front of the field was very clean, and then the positions, the transfer positions were also very, very clean. But as I was saying to you before we came live, that if we don't see too many incidents, we may not have too many issues with lap traffic. I think that was half the issue that we had with lap traffic, was a few drivers getting involved in a little bit of clumsiness, but I think this time around, I think a few drivers will probably have the heat levels down a little bit. It's going to be very, very entertaining, though. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how it's going to go, which I think is the positive that we need to take away, is we just do not know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a complete. I'd say we're as blind as you are coming up the hill at this track.
I thought you were going to say me without my glasses. What I thought you were going for there, but either
Well,
way,
I
they're
wear
both
glasses too.
Yeah, I know. Either way, it's both are very, very blind.
Yes, indeed. Definitely need my glasses to drive. It's on my license. Well, interesting to see how the back of the field goes, because drivers at the back apparently are going to be much faster in this race. Let's see if we get less lapped traffic from that. Checkered flag flies in warm-up, and we are ready to go. And we'll only be able to show the top 6 here on the grid because the gridding time is very short. It's Christian Challoner and Travis Walling on the front here. Walling, of course, winning the second heat, with Miles Crabb and Austin Peterson on the second row. And it's Thomas Hinz and Nathan Dowd who round out the top 6. Haynes, Abramadis, Abate, Morton, Foster, and Newton rounding out the top 12.
Yeah, from there we've got Richardson and Smith, with Bennett, Robertson, Barnes, and Batten rounding out the top 18. We've got Banks, Thomas, McMillan, Alessi, Dance, and Nick Kuhn. And there we go back to Mish, Bradbury, Barber, Stevens, Shank, Paulison, and Parks and Vickery. We got through them all just.
Yeah, we only just got through them all as the revs rise. One thing that hasn't changed from race 1 is that Christian Challoner is on pole position again. And we are away. Bit of wheel spin there from Miles Crabb, and that's resulted in a poor start. He could get swallowed by Austin Peterson here on the outside as they come into turn 1. But Peterson wide, and into the back of him goes Nathan Dowd, spins across the track. This is a much more chaotic race start than we envisaged. Everyone having to avoid the spun Honda Civic.
Wowee. That was entertaining. It's lots of crazy action. See, Abramadis, is it with the front splitter missing? It's going to continue on for now. We just see another car off there. It's Cody Richardson. This is a bit more of a chaotic start, but the pressure at the front is still as it was, but the top 3 starting to check out a tiny little bit.
Yep, just a tiny bit, with now everyone making their way to the final hairpin here. Abramadis trying to hold on to positions with no front bumper. He manages to keep Brian Bennett behind him, but oh no, yeah, there he goes. Abramadis, his night might be over from here. Let's see if he can work his way back into the top 26 and preserve his place in the first heat.
Oh, hey, that was not what we were expecting at all. So you can see here Mark Newton side by side with Joey Haynes, and Newton goes off the track. Will he be able to bring it back on? And just finds a gap to slide into, just.
Only just, but that caused Josh Robertson to check up. That means Brenton Foster and Cody Richardson, Dean Alessi and Josh Thomas as well will all go for it. Problem for Daniel Stevens, meanwhile, who's come up from race 1, heat 2. And I think that might be Stevens' night over as they make their way into the hairpin. Foster protecting the inside from Cody Richardson, and big contact there. Dean Alessi shoved off to the inside of the corner, and having to lift off is Cody Richardson. Josh Thomas moves on through.
Jonathan Dance through as well, so comes Eric Smith, not quite close enough to get through, but he was coming in very, very quickly and heated, but they've settled themselves out. Take a breath for a second, Reese, because, oh, maybe not. Jonathan Dance around. No chance to breathe here.
Yep. There is no oxygen in these lungs. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Let's see then. At the end of lap 3, whether or not Christian Challoner can keep Travis Walling behind him, because Travis is keeping him very honest here at the front.
Definitely is. It's a lot closer than I was expecting it to be at the front, which is great to see. But yeah, we'll see if this stays as it is. Walling setting fastest laps, so he's got a little bit more pace than Christian Challoner at the moment, but that could change very, very quickly, as I said. Remembering the important position to watch in this race is P number 26. At the moment, you can see that red car just at the back of shot is P26. That's Tom Abramaitis. He's got himself back into the magic spot.
Yeah, magic spot indeed here. Abramaitis has got a good margin as well to Stephen Banks behind, but we keep our eye on this fight. Oh, God!
It's Peterson and Bradbury both in the wall. There's car parts everywhere. Oh, my.
Wow. Well, that's given a couple more places to Tom Abramaitis now as the two cars get back going. That's at least one of them. Oh no, I thought I saw a car in the distance, but it's actually a bumper, I believe, of Bradbury. Well,
let's get a couple of replays while we can, Reese.
Yeah, while we can, because this race is just going to continue going off, right? Here is
this is the start.
Yeah, the start and the issue with the contact between the Civics, and well, I'm amazed that more cars didn't get involved in this. Of course, there were cars spearing off into the gravel, as you would expect from a typical touring car race start at Knockhill, but most of them managed to get through.
This is the incident we just saw. So you just see there the 72 of Peterson just ran a little bit wide through turn 2, comes back onto the circuit and makes heavy contact, and that's unfortunately taken Bradbury out. Just seeing too, Dean Alessi is around, and he's now dropped back to position number 26.
Oh no!
Well, he's got heavy damage too. Look at that front left-hand tyre.
Yeah, it looks like he's got massive suspension damage here. No idea what happened to him. He was running up in 16th place at the start of the last lap. I think it might have been an incident by himself. I just rewound and checked it. He got really crossed up on the way up the hill and was in the gravel. Well, have a look at this fight. This is fantastic here for 5th place. Christian Abart holding off Justin Morton and Joey Haynes as they pass the stricken Dean Alessi running off the circuit. No chance for a move into the final hairpin just yet, but Morton is on it. He's trying to keep up with Christian Abate as best he can, and Abate has made up 4 places. So has Morton. Joey Haynes, meanwhile, is still in the position he started in, 7th, but these two are going to try and work their way up here.
Thomas Hinz sets the fastest lap of the race, 51.8. So fastest lap is definitely starting to get a little bit quicker. Oh!
Wow.
How did he not loop that around or roll the car? He's just so heavy on the curbs.
Abate just flew over the crest of the hill there. It's managed to work out for him. He's keeping himself ahead of Morton. It's close racing behind, though, between these two Civics of Brenton Foster and Mark Newton. This is the battle for 9th and 10th as things stand, and that's very wide there for Mark Newton. He lines up the late apex, but he's lost too much time there as they come across the line to begin the 8th lap of this 24-lap race. on board with Daniel Stevens. He's chasing down P26. Remember, we saw him spun off a little earlier. He could keep his night alive from here.
Yep, very much could. He was about a second and a half back at the start of the previous lap. Last lap by, he gained a full second. And you can see the damage on the back of Peterson's car. Remember, he was off the track earlier and has not pitted for damage. Just seen Joshua Robertson drop down the timing sheet too. So we'll see if we can pick up what's happened to him.
Yeah, he's spun off. Doesn't look like damage, but he's just made a mistake through turn 2. He ran a bit too wide and onto the gravel. And
Stevens' car doesn't look too healthy either. Just noticed.
No. Yeah, there's a few cars here missing front bumpers, and it looks like the majority of them are Honda Civics, interestingly. But
hoping Honda brought some spares for the next race.
I'm hoping so too. Stevens still trying to chase down Austin Peterson for that final transfer spot. He hasn't made up much ground in the last lap or so, but we'll see if he can get it done. Oh, goodness, look at this up the front of the field, by the way, or in the midfield, rather. Gavin Barber trying to hold off the advances of Hyundai, a Honda, and an Audi, and Barber running a motion rig. This really shows you how intense the curbs are at this track. Let's see how he is over the hill.
Oh, I feel sick watching him.
Justin Morton's getting by Christian Abate, by the way, or at least attempting to. Got up the inside at the hairpin, very close between these two. That has brought Joey Haynes right back into this fight here for 5th spot. This is a fantastic battle going on at the moment.
There's a great fight going on here. This is, as you said, 5th, 6th, 7th, and now 8th. We've checked before, it was just 5th, 6th, and 7th, but Brian Bennett's closed in on this group rather quickly. Last lap by 4/10 quicker than the 3 of these guys, so he's closing that gap down very, very quickly. We also, off camera, have just seen Dan Stevens get through on Austin Peterson.
Yeah, we have indeed. So, for the moment, Daniel Stevens is safe there
in the lead here.
6th position. Oh, yep. As they come across the line, Travis Walling right on the back of Christian Challoner. They're coming up on cars that are having a couple of issues. I saw Cody Richardson spinning off at turn 2, but it looks like they have a good amount of space to deal with here. You can tell, though, just how hard these two are pushing. And Challoner, interestingly, is in the car that we would think is the least advantageous here, with the way the Honda Civic is known to not handle curbs and bumps as well as the other cars in this class.
It's also hearing from a few drivers driving this car that it does take a little bit to get up to speed and get up to temperature and get into a rhythm as well. So he's done a good job to hold onto the spot. We might see him break away towards the end of the race as here comes, oh, this is that battle again. Brian Bennett's already passed Joey Haynes side by side down the railway straight. He's going to get another spot here on Morton.
Yeah, Brian Bennett is looking magnificent here in his Veloster as he lines up alongside the sister car in Justin Morton. Oh no, that's a big problem there for Stephen Banks. Was 24th spot, but now he's going to fall outside the top 26.
Dropped a few spots from that. Here comes, Morton.
Oh!
Into Joey Haynes. Haynes keeps it on the track. Whew.
He's going to lose a couple more spots. Mark Newton and Brenton Foster making their way past him. That's controversial there as Banks stays out of the way. Here he comes, does Joey Haynes, trying to get one of those spots back on Mark Newton, but it doesn't work. Tight line into that corner means his run down the railway straight is destroyed, but Nick McMillan doesn't go for the move. I think Haynes will be thankful for that.
Definitely will. Just looking, so currently P26, this car here, Cody Richardson, he's in the pit lane about to come out, and he's just lost a spot there to Nick McMillan. So McMillan now is P26. He's got 16 seconds to the car ahead, but that is your battle for the final transfer spot into the main event. And McMillan versus Richardson at the moment is your battle for 26th.
Yeah, righto. So McMillan was a lap car and all of that. Oh, goodness. Car off, and that's Stephen Paulison. I tell you what, really lucky escape for Joey Haynes because he almost T-boned Paulison as he was off the track. My goodness. Well, Stephen Paulison managing to get things going again, but this is what happened. Look at how close that was. Whew.
I wish we had a heart rate monitor on him. Would
Yeah,
be
I
high.
wish we had heart rate monitors.
No, I don't want one.
Me.
It'll break.
Well, the heart rate for the leaders will definitely be high as Challoner still holds off Walling. They've worked their way past the lap traffic of Garen Batten. And on board here, coming into the first corner, with Shane Vickery fighting for 15th spot here. He's got Nathan Dowd up ahead of him, and Dowd finished really well in the first race we broadcast here on SimSpeed. He's a bit further down the field this time, but he's solidly within the top 26, and this stage will go through to the final race of the night. But it's looking very fast here for Eric Smith. Sorry, my apologies. Joey Haynes. I got the car colours confused, Jay. Sorry.
It's all right. It's early. You haven't had enough coffee yet. This is closing up. So after the pit stop for McMillan to get the damage fixed and use his spare car, stretched out to about 1.5 to 2 seconds. It's now at a second and closing. So Cody Richardson versus Nick McMillan, who makes another error. That's 2 errors on this lap. This is the transfer spot, the last spot in the main event of race 3. It's well and truly on.
And we're coming up to 9 laps to go in this one as well. It's going to be 8 laps to go, I believe, for these drivers fighting over the transfer spot. And McMillan gets an all-right exit out of the hairpin. Doesn't use too much of the curb, nice and straight. The Honda Civic pulls away just a little bit from the Hyundai Elantra, but just out of the pits. For Cody Richardson, his tyres will be coming back up to temperature at this point. So I think McMillan will definitely have to start looking over his shoulder. What he will be seeing is Cody Richardson really monstering these curbs and putting wheels in the gravel, which is kind of killing his pace a little.
Yeah, well, I thought through turn 1 you could see the real difference between these two cars. You could see that Richardson was quite content, happy to bounce it over the curbs, and McMillan was really cautious to make sure he didn't touch the curb at all. And the pace difference out of turn 1 was almost identical between them. So it's very, very interesting, the difference. But you can see that Richardson's using every single bit of road, dirt, grass, curb, whatever he can find to try and find a tiny little bit of pace. Net result for him at the end of the lap, he's lapped exactly the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Just
the difference there through turn 2 as well.
Yeah, quite the difference. I mean, I think that's one of the other cool things about Knockhill is that, you know, there's
mistake.
Mistake from Nick McMillan. This gives Cody Richardson the chance he needs to get back into the top 26. He goes up the inside. They make contact through the corner, but Richardson is through. I think for touring car racing, that was a fair move.
It's as fair as it's going to get in a touring car. Rubbing's racing in these things. It's had a little bit of an incident just ahead of these guys too at the hairpin. Get a quick look. This is the guys battling for P21, 22, 23. So Shank, Mish and Parks and attempted a move, almost a spin, but they all gather it back up. But that could have easily cost them the race. They could have been out of the night.
Yeah, definitely could have. God, there's fights going on all through the field here, and it's still on for the lead as well as we keep checking out this fight. Looks like Justin Morton and Christian Abate are still battling behind them. Have a look at that.
Morton's going to lose the spot.
Yeah, Brian Bennett getting a good run around the outside, but Morton might try to stick it up the inside. No, he's going to yield here and stay behind, have another run in the last few laps. This has been a very stressful race for Justin Morton. He's been constantly in fights.
Yeah, he hasn't had an easy night at all, has he? He's always been in the battle. Whatever the battle is, he's in it. The biggest fight of the night, he's found a way to get in it. And have a look at who started to close on after that little incident we saw a couple of laps ago. Joey Haynes just set the fastest lap of the race, and he's closing in on these guys very, very quickly.
Yeah, he's right on the back of them now, basically. Abate over, and oh my goodness, Bennett. That was a huge slide across the top of the hill. Gives half an advantage to Justin Morton, but he's not able to get alongside for the next corner. Let's see what the exit is like from the railway straight. Bennett moving middle of the road a little bit. Just try and keep Morton from going for the move. You see how aggressive Morton is into the corners. That's where he's making up most of his time. And drawing level with Bennett on the exit as well, which is an advantage. Yeah, Travis Walling gets into the lead versus Christian Challoner. And that happened on the way down the front straight. And guess what? It was traffic that decided it.
Yeah, so traffic's definitely played an impact in this. So the run into the hairpin, a little bit of traffic. Just to, I think that's, is it Shank there?
Yeah, that's Shank.
That we saw involved in that incident earlier. And just a poor exit there from Challoner. And you can see Walling just up the inside. Just a tiny, tiny little bit of momentum as well. He may have actually got a little bit of a push from that lap car as well. And then up the inside, turn one, we don't see a huge amount of overtakes there, but just seen one, and a very, very good one.
Yeah, nice move between our two leaders. Well, only a few laps left in this one, and the chances that Christian Challoner has to get back by are rapidly running out. Cody Richardson, meanwhile, moves up into 26th spot, and it looks like he's got a nice gap over Nick McMillan. I don't think McMillan's going to be able to get back up there unless there's a massive error from Mr. Richardson.
At the front of this group now, about starting to break away, and Joey Haynes is right in it as there's an error from Brian Bennett. He's going to lose one spot, not going to lose two though. So how many changes of position have we seen within these guys over this race?
I haven't even bothered to count.
I don't think you'd be able to keep up. There's been so many changes of position the whole way through the field. There's a bit of a flash of the lights there from Bennett. Haynes says, I'll go through, thank you very much. And now Brendan Foster's getting involved in this one. So we've gone from a 4-car fight to a 5-car fight, and I think we're going to add a 6-car in there because Mark Newton's not far off.
Yeah, indeed. Well, there's plenty of racing left to come in these final 3 laps, and well, I'm seeing that Justin Morton is starting to make up a bit of time here on Christian Abate as well. The Civic is looking a little bit more sedate over these curbs. Look at how hard Justin Morton is pushing. The pace he carried across the top of the hill was insane. He is flinging that car into every single corner, trying to get a position in the top 5 back.
Yep, trying. He wants to get in that top 5, but it's going to be easier said than done. Will he be able to get a move done into the hairpin? I think he will. Oh, don't listen to me. I don't know anything.
You know how to direct a race,
okay.
Use OBS and restream and all that, so I suppose that counts for something.
All right, I'm good at one thing. This is Abramatis. This is a great recovery. Remember lap 1, he had no front splitter, had to come into the pits. He's now fighting for 17th position and will take it. That's a huge recovery considering he was effectively last after lap 1.
Yeah, for sure. Abramatis has had an excellent recovery, and he'll keep himself in the Heat 1 fight for the final race of the night.
This isn't settled back here. I'm wondering if Pedersen and Stevens are having some issues with their cars potentially overheating, considering the damage to the front. Have a look at Pedersen. He's missing the whole rear of the car as well. He and Stevens go at it again.
Yeah, there's no rest for anyone here at Knockhill. Looks like a good run for Austin Peterson. He's going to stick the nose out, but I don't think he has the momentum for a move into the first corner. Daniel Stevens will stay ahead.
Gap for 26 is closed as well. Down to 7/10 again, so that is not 100% settled.
All right, final lap.
This isn't
settled
either.
A desperate move. No. Desperate move from Christian Challoner in the hairpin, maybe. He's on the brakes late, and he manages to pull it up, but it's not going to be enough. Travis Walling is going to come out.
Oh, Peterson in the wall.
Turn in the lead.
Peterson in the wall, and that's put him into 27th position.
Oh, no. That's heartbreak there for Austin Peterson on the final lap. So
Nick McMillan throws it off.
Oh, dear. Is he going to be able to keep it?
He's got damage here. Is he going to be able to get it home?
I think he will. He's got a good gap back to Robbie Bradbury, who's the last car running, or who's the next car running.
Just holds
and across
on.
the line he will come.
Wow.
Yeah, Nick McMillan makes it into 26th position after Austin Peterson suffers a crash on the final lap.
Tell you what, it's a huge crash too. Wait till you see it.
Oh dear.
This is controversial end to the race.
All right, so what happened to Austin Peterson here on the replay? Up the hill he comes, and oh my goodness.
Wait for the second part of the incident here. Tries to get it back out on the circuit. There's no steering in the car. Bang!
No. Oh, man.
And that was in front of that group that we were watching with Bennett, Foster, Morton, Newton, Haynes. So, there's going to be a bit of discussion coming about from that one.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. That might have resulted in a change of position between all those drivers, and maybe he didn't have steering, but it might still count as an unsafe re-entry there for Austin Peterson. Either way, this is how they stacked up at the end of race 2. Walling, Challoner and Crab, your podium. Another podium for Crab. He'll be happy with that. Thomas Hinz finishes in 4th, gains 1 spot. Brian Bennett up 10 places. That is an excellent run there from the number 71. Foster, Morton and Newton finish behind, with Haynes and Smith rounding out your top 10.
From there, we go back to Dance and Kuhn in 11th and 12th. We've got Gav Barber, Shane Vickery, Nathan Dowd, Tom Abramatis. That's a great drive. He was 31st at the end of the first lap, gets back to 16th in the end. Josh Thomas, Josh Robertson, and Brian Barbs and Christian Abate round out the top 20.
And the cars on the lead lap. Patrick Misic is going to finish ahead of Roger Shank, with Don Parks, Daniel Stevens, Cody Richardson, Nick McMillan and Robbie Bradbury all finishing a lap down. And of course Austin Peterson, well, he was solidly in the top 26 until his massive incident there on the final lap. He'll retire from this one along with Garen Batten, Stephen Banks, Dean Alessi and Stephen Paulison. Big shame for those guys, but the bottom 6 here are going to have one more race here tonight. They'll be back to the second split, and we'll have the top 6 from the second split joining us for race 3. So here we go.
This is a look at the overtake on board with Walling to get the lead. You can see how much lap traffic there was that entire lap previous.
Yeah, and I think lap traffic has been one of the defining features of the night here at Knockhill. Just so little space to really get your moves done, and Challoner, well, he got a good run out of that corner.
Oh, he made a mistake there too.
Yeah, just a little bit. Managed to maintain the momentum, but Walling was just able to take advantage here. Challoner, I think, messed things up a little bit by going too tight through the final corner. I mean, what else could he do? There was traffic there, but Walling was right there to take advantage.
Now, I think while he didn't lose too much momentum going in the dirt, it may have been the difference between him being clear at the apex of that corner, or whether he was side by side at the approach to that corner. So that's a beautiful move in the air from in the end there from Walling as he makes his way through. I'm just waiting for the results from the second race so that we can confirm who will move on into the main. And I can tell you that the top 6, Andrew Costa, Sam Harper from 16th to 2nd, Alexander Sheridan, Sebastian Jackson, David Hall and Robert Gamble are the top 6 from that race. Gap between 6th and 7th, only 0.4 of a second.
Cool. So evidently it was very close there in second split, and I have to say, very surprised at Sam Harper's performance. We were talking when we were off air about how poor of a race he unfortunately had in race 1, but he's back in it. So we'll see if Sam Harper can challenge anyone in this third race, which is coming up very shortly here on SimSpeed TV. You're watching the Majors series, supporting the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network here on SimSpeed TV.
Boss Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Righto, SimSpeed TV, the Majors Series, Round 4, TCR at Knockhill. This has been a very chaotic night so far. Certainly a lot to think about coming into this third race, but we're on board here with Joey Haynes for the final lap of the race just run. And we'll see here just how much of an issue this pack had when, unfortunately, the Honda Civic crashing on the final lap re-entered in a bit of a dangerous spot, running behind Justin Morton, and then everyone sees it coming, and bam! That's huge.
Well, everyone saw it coming except for Hayne. He saw nothing, so he's done a great job to even finish the race. That could have ended his race quite quickly and put him out of contention, but he's done a great job to stay in the fight. And these guys continue to fighting ahead. But remember we said before we went live, oh geez, I didn't notice this 3 wide when I was finding this replay. We said that turn 6, that chicane, very, very blind, and you don't know if someone stopped ahead. Well, that just proved exactly what we were talking about. No idea what was going to happen there.
Yeah, for sure. That was that's something that drivers are going to have to watch out for in the third race here, which should be coming up very shortly. Session will be going live at 10:20. Make sure once again to show your support for the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. We're supporting that charity for this round of the Majors Series. They fight for disability rights and make sure autistic people are included in policy making so that laws and policies meet the autistic community's needs. You can go to autisticadvocacy.org and lend your support there. Here on SimSpeed TV, we will step aside once again, but stay with us. Race 3 is coming up sooner than you think.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
available now. Download your copy today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You're watching SimSpeed TV. It's time for the final race of the night here in MTCR, round 4 of the 2023 Majors Series. It's been an incredible night of racing, really, at the Knockhill racing circuit in Fife, Scotland. Definitely a round that I had been looking forward to for some time, and I think it has lived up to the hype. Reese Gardner with you in the commentary box with Jay Kennedy, who's also handling the stream here behind the scenes. Jay, plenty to reflect on so far tonight, but we go into the points paying race for this round, which means we should probably take another look at those championship standings to see where everyone stacks up.
Yeah, I think the cool thing is that everything that we've seen prior to that, those two races means nothing now. Everyone starts back on 0. The only thing it's done is set your grid position. So I just realised I've loaded up the wrong graphic. That's all right. We can start with the Teams Championship. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. Mega Racing Team up ahead of Forge Gold, and I think a big part of that is both Christian Challoner and Justin Morton making their cases known here, with Dog Bear Red in 3rd place. It's looking pretty close between Sector 5 and Mad Sim Racing Pro, though. That could flip completely by the time we're done here.
Yeah, I think this round could really shuffle these championship points around. So looking forward to seeing what it looks like at the end of this event. And apologies for it saying international region. It should say Pacific region, but that's a good old copy paste error from me. Wouldn't be those graphics if I didn't do one copy paste error, would it?
Yeah, that's an artifact from when the region we broadcast used to be called International. Here's the championship standings in the Pro Drivers category, with Challoner only 4 points ahead of Justin Morton. Now, Challoner has had a much better night than Morton has so far, and Justin's going to be starting a bit further back in the top 10 for this 3rd race, so he's got a lot of work to do to try and keep himself in touch with Christian.
Yeah, he does. He's got to work really hard, and Abramatis, I think, almost could have saved his championship with that recovery in that last race as well, because if he had have ended up down in 26 or lower, even if he gets the win in 2nd split, that's huge points loss in comparison to those that he's chasing at the front. So great recovery from him. I think that was probably the drive of the race there from him to get back into it. And we look at the Legends Championship. This is an interesting fight too as we get close to the end of the championship. Close to the end of the night, I should say. Dan Stevens leading the championship. He actually sits 11th outright in the points as well. So he's sitting okay. He just messaged me before to say he's doing everything in his power to seem to throw away the championship. But he's sitting okay for now. I also asked him, he's messaged me earlier to say he couldn't get his heart rate monitor up on the screen. I asked him if he knew what it got up to, and he was unsure, but he was predicting it was somewhere around the 200 mark because he thought he was going to have a mild heart attack when he saw that car come up the inside.
Yeah, goodness me. Doesn't surprise me. Of course, the Legends Championship is for drivers over 50 years of age. So at the very least, Dan Stevens seems to have managed to keep a good level of fitness into his 50s. So a couple of high heart rates shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. Well, that's the weather at the moment. It's reasonable track temperature, 27 degrees Celsius. Of course, it is usually quite cold up in Bonnie, Scotland. So
I'd say that's pretty warm. 18 degrees. It's almost a warm summer's day.
Yeah, just about. It does mean, though, that the tyres are going to take a couple of laps to get up to temperature as they usually do. So the cars are going to be very skatey when they get off the line for this third race. Have a look at the pace from Miles Crabb and Sam Harper in this warm-up session so far. Looking pretty good. And, of course, Sam Harper managing to scrape in to this field and try and keep his championship charge alive, with Abramatis down in 6th at the moment. Challoner only 4th. But remember, they're just getting their eye in for this final race. We'll see their true pace when the green flag drops.
And of course, this doesn't mean a huge amount in that some drivers will be out there on different fuel loads. Some guys will be out there trying to lap hot lap conditions. Other drivers will be trying to test things in regards to overtakes and things like that. So sure, the times are cool to look at, but they don't mean a massive amount. Although the interesting thing is that Miles Crabb still has good pace. We've seen him have great pace all night.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing Miles Crabb out there, and he's definitely looking quick in his Hyundai Elantra. Brenton Foster, meanwhile, going to second place as we check out our Zoom wall. Thomas Hins, Daniel Stevens. We've also got second place in the championship there. Justin Morton on the bottom left, and Gavin Barber really putting his motion rig through its paces over these massive curbs.
I think it's the smoothest ride he's got going down the front straight there, so he's probably enjoying that. Watch, I still can't believe how much it moves through these curves. We'll watch him through. He's about to come up through the chicane here, so uphill through the chicane. Watch the movement here.
Yeah, here we go. Oh, that's a bit of a jolt, isn't it?
You'd want to make sure that you didn't have a broken rib or something, because if you didn't have a broken rib before, there's a high chance you might by the end of the night.
Yeah, indeed. Got to take care around Knockhill. I can't imagine what real-life drivers have to go through around this place, because Knockhill isn't just a touring car circuit. It hosts lower-level open-wheel racing as well, and they have to stay off the curbs, but it's still a very rough ride.
We broadcast here on SimSpeed a few weeks ago, a Formula 4 race, F4 race here, running the reverse layout, so downhill through the chicane, and it was incredible, and I would have loved to have seen someone with a motion rig with that, because they were a little bit more temperamental on the curves, but they definitely feel the bumps a little bit more. So yeah, that would have been a wild ride for someone in a motion rig running the opposite direction. Of course, this track can run both ways. So this view here, you see the start line, the finish line, which is just there. But if we swing the camera around this way, no, it's this way, isn't it? The finish line for the reverse track is just up here.
Oh, it is indeed. Goodness me. And you saw that the grid slots are reversed past the finish line for this layout as well. So, oh man, God, I love this track. It's so cool. I really love that iRacing managed to get this track on board, because I think it's an incredibly underrated circuit, under-raced as well in sim racing. So here's the standings, how they're going to start for race 3. Walling and Challoner on the front row, with Crabb and Hins 3rd and 4th. Brian Bennett and Brenton Foster will round out the top 6. In 7th place, it will be Justin Morton. He's got some ground to make up to Challoner to keep in the championship hunt, with Newton joining him. Haynes, Smith, Dance and Kuhn are going to round out our top 12.
Yeah, from there we've got Barber and Vickery on the 7th row. 8th row is Dowd and Abramatis, with Thomas and Robertson side by side. Barnes and Abade rounding out the top 20. We've still got a couple more here. Nish, Shank, Parks and Stevens rounding out the top 24. We might get through them.
We might just. Cody Richardson, Nick McMillan, Andrew Kotska, Sam Harper starting out 28th, Alex Sheridan and Sebastian Jackson round out the top 30. It's Hall and Gamble on the back row as the revs rise and we get going. Travis Walling doesn't get a good run off the start, and it looks like a couple of drivers bogged down further back as well. Looks like Brian Bennett losing places. Challoner moves into the lead as they come into turn 1, with Crabb losing out to Thomas Hins, who goes round the outside at the first corner.
And much cleaner start than we saw in the first one. Oh, Challoner!
Oh, no! Challoner's off the circuit. Made a mistake in turn 3. He has fallen back to 9th.
Wowee. This is not what we were expecting to see. Championship leader back to 9th.
Oh dear.
Kuhn side by side here with Joey Haynes, who's making a recovery after a poor start. And Brendan Foster up the inside of Miles Crabb.
Oh, goodness me. It is all going off here at the front of the field. Miles Crabb trying to defend from Justin Morton here, and they make contact on the exit. Morton goes three wide with Mark Newton and Brian Bennett. And look who's right in the hunt here. Eric Smith and Christian Challoner. There's the battle for the championship right there, side by side. Justin Morton goes into turn 1 on the outside. Challoner is back through on him. Oh, there's a slide, a big slide. That's Mark Newton spearing across the circuit and into the tyre bundles.
Lucky he didn't make contact with anyone else, as well as Bennett around.
Oh, no!
Someone else involved in that too. Morton and Challoner both make it through, importantly for the championship. They're still going at it, those two.
It's Eric Smith who was the other car involved in that incident. Chaotic first lap here as Justin Morton now has to fend off the Audi of Jonathan Dance.
Whew. We thought the first 2 races were action-packed, but this has just been something else.
Yeah, and we've only been racing for 2 minutes. This is incredible. Well, Morton's probably going to lose another position to Dance here, and Gavin Barber is right in it as well in the Middle Finger Racing Veloster. Morton again on the outside of turn 1. He manages to get it through there and not lose too much time. Joey Haynes tries on Barber, and off the track is Shane Vickery. He absolutely cleans up Josh Robertson. They both go off. My apologies. Oh.
Robertson in the wall. Now, it's on for the lead here still too. Walling hasn't checked out as much as he might have liked. Hinz and Foster are going with him. Now, I want to quickly, while we can, let's have a look at the start again, because there's a little bit more to this between with Challoner going off at the start of the race.
All right, let's see what happened. So Challoner over the curb, but there was rear end contact. That's the reason why Challoner went off and how Travis Walling got into the lead. That is controversial.
Definitely controversial. We're going to see a little bit more discussed about that later on. And now this is what happened here with Newton coming across the circuit.
Just manages to sneak through.
Does.
But then Bennett has to check up, and that's how he spun off.
See the heavy damage to that car too for Newton. He was looking very, very nice there for a top 10.
Now, it's a huge shame for Mark Newton. Well, we're back with Christian Challoner here. He's chasing down Miles Crabb for 4th. Thomas Hinz has made his way up into 2nd. Brenton Foster completing the top 3 as he was in the first race. Challoner on the back of Crabb here. He is right on the pace, and you can see he's already gained a bit of damage to the rear bumper from the contact with Travis Walling, but that doesn't matter. Look at that fastest lap here already.
Beautiful job from Challoner. Right into the 52s. Now trying to secure a bit more ground, gain some more spots. Miles Crabb's doing enough to hold on. You can see Morton, he's lost a bit of ground while we were watching those replays. Did have a little bit of a drop back in position. Now, we'll quickly get a look at Brian Bennett as well while we can, because I think while we're early on, let's get the replays in, because I don't think we're going to get a chance later on.
Right, so here's Bennett. He was already off the circuit in the first turn, and there goes the Middle Finger Civic, and yeah, had to check up. Unfortunately, contact from the Dog Bear number 32, and they both run off the circuit. Fortunately, no one else involved in that.
Miles Crabb has just responded to Christian Challoner's fastest lap and pips him by 0.02 of a second. That's enough. All you need. It's starting to close up for the lead as well. Thomas Hinz is starting to close in that gap to Travis Walling.
Yeah, Walling's last lap was a 52.18. It was a 52.008 from Thomas Hinz. A couple of tenths gained there. So remains to be seen whether or not Hinzy can keep up that pace, or Walling might be a little rattled from his contact with Challoner on that first lap. There is slight damage to the front left for Travis Walling, which might be affecting him. Meanwhile, the racing goes on further back in the top 10. Joey Haynes in 7th spot, just making up the place there on Jonathan Dance, and Justin Morton is right with them as well. Morton, one of the cars who's been involved in all the shenanigans throughout this race, and he briefly thought that he could take the championship lead from Christian Challoner after lap 1, but has fallen back to 8th spot. So Morton's got his work cut out for him from here as they come across the top of the hill. Big oversteer across the curb.
Yeah, you say Morton's been involved in all of the shenanigans. I don't think he's wanted to be involved in it. Hasn't caused any of it. He just seems to find himself in that spot the entire of the night. He's just been involved in everything, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Can't avoid any
he
incidents.
Absolutely has. Yeah. Oh, it's been a very difficult night for quite a few drivers, and not just in terms of bad results, just in terms of getting involved in stuff as well. Eric Smith, meanwhile, the car who made contact with Mark Newton, made contact with, who was it? It was Brian Bennett, involved in some big fighting here towards the back of the field. 22nd place now for Eric Smith, but he still has to fend off Sebastian Jackson, who he just passed there in the first corner. David Hall behind them as well. Back up to Justin Morton. He's lost a bit of time to the drivers ahead of him. And no, actually, sorry, that's Sam Harper in the other Forge Gold car. Yeah, that's amazing. Up 15 places there for Sam Harper. Teammate, of course, to Justin Morton. And he is really working his way through this field, isn't he? Up to 13th spot now, and trying to chase down that 12th place fight, and 11th with Abramadis and Abade up ahead of him. There's a bit of a gap to make up, but there's still plenty of this race to go.
Still lots of racing left in this one, as there's a change of position there. Brian Bennett through on Alexander Sheridan, 25th and 26th. So everyone on the lead lap except for Robertson and Newton. Newton has parked the car, unfortunately. I think he's probably a little dejected after that incident earlier on. Battle for third has closed up very quickly. Brenton Foster hasn't been able to break away from Crab and Challoner, who've closed in very, very quickly.
Yeah, these two drivers battling amongst themselves, Crab and Challoner. Well, they still managed to make up bulk time here on the number 11 and looking at a podium spot now. Brenton Foster will be ahead into the first corner here. The braking zone's just too short to make a move unless you're alongside going in. And Harper continuing to gain here. There we go. I'm getting my Forge Gold cars confused again. Morton on the back of Jonathan Dance. Needs to be a bit more livery variance here, guys. Otherwise, us broadcasters are going to get confused. That's me just making excuses for myself here. But Morton doing very well to keep in contact with the Audi. Unfortunately, they are losing lots of time to the drivers up ahead of them. Challoner is just on a mission right now, but Travis Walling is the one with the fastest lap so far into the 51s. And let's see who gets the fastest lap this time around. Thomas Hinz with a 51.8. He's continuing to chase down that lead.
Last lap by was 0.2 quicker. No, he wasn't. Yes, he was.
Yeah, but he got it off track.
He did get it off track. It was 51.8 for Hinz and a 52 flat for Walling. So, yeah, he's definitely closing that gap down and not letting Walling break away. I think he's probably content to sit there for a little bit and then wait for the last maybe 5 or 6 laps. Hope that a little bit of traffic gets involved and he catches them at the right time to get a big chunk of time as here comes Morton up the inside of Dance at turn 7. That's a brave move, but he's pulled it off very, very well, sticking side by side on the railway straight and might get it done in the final corner.
He does. Dance manages to back out of that one and try to fight another lap. Good exit using the outside line in the hairpin. So for the time being, Morton is safe back into the position. He started in 7th as Brian Barnes has an issue there. He was running solidly in the top 20, but will now fall outside of it in the Dog Bear Veloster. And that is a slow entry back onto the racetrack for Brian Barnes, down to 25th now.
at the final corner here. That's Cody Richardson on the outside. Runs, throws it. Oh, he just drifts a little bit wide. I don't think Richardson did too much wrong there. I think just running a little bit wide. I might not be the best one to judge that, though.
No. Miles Crabbe and Christian Challoner, looks like they're really fighting it out here. Challoner trying to make his way past Crabbe, got at the inside into the hairpin, but has not gotten the run that he needed to get by.
Just doesn't quite have that last little bit in the car to get the move done, does he? We haven't seen him make an overtake for a little bit. And of course, race 1, race 2, he never made an overtake. He lost one spot, but never made an overtake. Crabbe absolutely launching it over the curb.
Yeah, and that's killed his momentum. That allows Challoner half a chance through, but he has to back off onto the railway straight. These guys, with the amount they've been battling, they haven't made much more of an impression on Brenton Foster, who's still holding on to third place in that number 11 Honda Civic. What's the run out of the hairpin like for Challoner now?
Kind of like he couldn't really get the car planted there. Just a lot of wheel spin. Couldn't get the gear change happening. Lost a little bit of ground. We've got a little bit of side-by-side here. This is Harper, Kuhn, Abate all together. And Abramatis leading this group as Sam Harper up another spot. He's now up into 11th position. Now, my maths isn't great, Reese, but that's 17 before I pop it up on screen. 17? Is that 18?
Either.
There you
Up 17. There you go. So that was good stuff from Challoner. He was able to take 2 places from that little exchange. He got up the inside of Abade at the final hairpin and then managed to secure it on Nick Kuhn coming into turn 1 as here we go. Christian Challoner versus Miles Crabbe once again. Well, this is such a tight battle, but Challoner looks like he's made the move finally. Coming back at him, though, is Miles Crabbe with more momentum down the front straight. He's not going to draw alongside into turn 1, though. Let's see what Challoner can do now that he is finally ahead. Will he be able to make an impression on Brenton Foster?
He's still got to find a little bit of ground, though, to get that spot. Of course, teammates, even though they're in different coloured cars, they are running. That's the most I've seen a Honda launch over the curbs all night. Challoner is now decided, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to follow that line that Crabbe was running in the Hyundai, but somehow made it work. It hasn't been too common that we've seen that.
Yeah, not too common at all. I think it all comes down to partially chance and the laws of physics, really, whether or not you make it over the curb like that. But such is racing at Knockhill. You have to take risks around this place if you want to be fast.
Bade through on Nick Kuhn through the final hairpin. And some other battles starting to brew here. This is Brian Bennett on his recovery back through. Robert Gamble about to lose a spot. And Don Parks trying to take advantage potentially as well. Quite able to, but some really good battles going on out on track.
Yeah, it looks like Bennett's gotten a good exit from the final corner. Traction is all right on the inside for that Veloster, and he's already making up bulk time again on Gamble as he makes his way out. Here's Challoner then. He's trying and trying again on Brenton Foster. That was a late apex from the final corner. That means he's gotten a nice straight run. Fastest lap from Travis Walling, 51.7. He is holding on to that lead versus Thomas Hinz. The gap for the lead out to about 1.3 seconds. But Joey Haynes now with the fastest lap in 6th place. Challoner is so aggressive on the brakes, but there's not much he can do in this section of the circuit. Has to depend on a good run through this chicane. They go through, and there is oversteer for Brenton Foster. Challoner has momentum, but again, the straight is just too short to take advantage.
Amazing how on the limit these guys are. They are pushing so hard that the smallest mistake is enough to put them in the fence. But these guys are so good that they don't do that. They're just able to keep control of the car so well. It's great to watch, great to see. And still got, what, 6-7 laps of racing to go that we can watch these guys fight it out.
Oh boy, here we go. Gently does it. These guys are neck and neck right now. And the night is rapidly coming to a close. Foster is looking at a podium here. Can he hold off against the championship leader? Look at how much Challoner uses the curbs. He has got the line down pat through the chicane, but again, the corner coming onto the railway straight is not his friend. Neither is the straight before that corner, for that matter. He might be getting a little frustrated here with Challoner. It's proving harder to pass here than a lot of people anticipated.
Yeah, it's definitely not as easy as, or as straightforward as you would expect an overtake to be through into that hairpin. I think the camera of the corner probably catches a few drivers off as well when you go to make an overtake there. So we'll see if it does change over the next little bit. Joey Haynes, have a look at how quickly he's closed in. The last 2 laps, both fastest laps of the race, and you can well and truly say he's in this battle now.
Yeah, it's been a great run from Joey Haynes, hasn't it? It is now a 4-way battle for the last spot on the podium, and they all fly across the curb once more. Challoner moving around behind Brenton Foster, trying to psych him out. The psychological games are a big part of touring car racing, especially if you're in front-wheel drive. You have to be exact with your braking, your rotation, and your throttle application and these things. Here comes Haynes. He goes past Miles Crabb into the hairpin.
Beautiful move there from Joey Haynes to get himself up into 5th position, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can get himself to 3rd here with the pace that he's got. That was a beautiful move, and Challoner now putting pressure on Foster. I think these two have realised, hey, we've got to get going, because if we fight too much or slow each other down too much, Joey Haynes is going to get us. It's also on for the lead too. Hinz has closed in with a bit of lap traffic.
Lap traffic at Knockhill. What more could you expect? The gap for the lead down to about 7/10 of a second now. Oh, just a little trip through the gravel on the exit of the chicane, but he stays ahead of Miles Crabb. Good stuff there. Oh, there's a big off just in front of the 3rd place battle. Nick McMillan off the circuit, and I'm not too sure if that was contact. It wasn't. He ran wide and onto the gravel and had a big spin. That almost cleaned up Foster and Challoner, who are now making their way through some lap traffic themselves. Sebastian Jackson having to pull over and let these guys go. But in the midst of all of that, Challoner's lost a lot of time to Brenton Foster.
Definitely has. Definitely compromised Challoner there. Now he's starting to feel a bit of pressure from behind. Hinz not able to make any more inroads at the moment on Walling. We'll keep one eye on that battle at the front, but this battle for 3rd, this battle for the last podium spot, wowee. What a way to finish the day of racing, the night of racing. If we see these guys this close at the end, I think we've got our money's worth.
Oh yeah, we absolutely have. Now that they've made their way through the traffic, Walling and Hinz have separated out again to a 2nd gap. And there's not much time left. There's 3 laps to go now for Travis Walling in the lead of this race. And barring a mistake, I don't think he's going to lose it. Hinz just too far back to make an impression. But talk about making an impression for Joey Haynes. What a fight it has been for him, up from 9th to 5th and looking at 4th place now as he closes in on Christian Challoner. Haynes has come alive in this final race.
Wow, he's just gained so much ground over the last little bit, hasn't he? Look at how well he's over the curbs too. He's got that car set up beautifully to use the curbs to his advantage, and you can tell the difference between the Hyundai and the Honda just through that one corner there. I mean, we've said it all event long that the curbs are not friendly with the Honda, and if you can get the car set up right in the Hyundai to get through there, oh, I'll tell you what, Challoner with that wide line, he might lose the spot here. No, not quite. This is going to be an interesting final 2 laps. I think Haynes is going to get 1 spot here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about where he makes the move, though. Has to rely on a mistake from Christian Challoner, and mistakes are so easy to make at this place. Down into turn 3. You can see that now it's Haynes' turn to be aggressive on the brakes, gets the rotation done very nicely. Now, what's it going to be like up through the chicane? How much is Haynes going to gain? Doesn't look like too much. Challoner preemptively, no, that's not a defense, that's a pass. He gets into 3rd place. Brenton Foster having to go wide there. Looked like a poor run out of the chicane for the number 11 Honda. Now he has to go defensive versus Joey Haynes. This battle has just gone off. Trying up the inside of Challoner now is Foster. Will he keep the place? Challoner around the outside gets the straighter exit, but now this is a little bit too close quarters for turn 1. White flag.
Wowee, this is going to be a great battle all the way to the end. Oh, big slide from Challoner, but somehow makes it stick, makes it hold on. I don't know how he's held that together.
I don't know either. Oh, Haynes goes off. So does Miles Crabb behind. I think that battle might just be over. And oh no, Brendan Foster. Oh dear, that's caused a big checkup. Could Miles Crabb get Joey Haynes as a result of that? He just might. Haynes will hold on round the outside. Travis Walling, meanwhile, making it through the final corner up the top of your screen. He's going to win round 4 of the majors here at Knockhill. Hins in second. Brilliant drive from the both of them. Challoner will hold on for third here. Brenton Foster has lost bulk positions there, and it looks like Joey Haynes is going to nab 4th place in the midst of all of that. What a finish to that race.
Gavin Barber's just lost 3 spots on the last lap as well, so something's happened to Barber at the end of the race. But Travis Walling, congratulations. Great drive. The overtake between he and Christian Challoner in that second race been the difference between everyone in the night in the end. Thomas Hins, I think you should be absolutely ecstatic with the podium in the end. And Challoner in third. Great recovery from where he was a couple of laps into the race.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Though the stewards might still have something to say about the contact between Walling and Challoner on the first lap. We'll see how that works out. But regardless, Challoner will hold on to the championship lead versus Justin Morton, who came across the line in 7th place. Oh man, what a race, what a night. This is why I love TCR racing. And Walling will stay out on track for those victory celebrations. That Hyundai Elantra did well for him tonight. And with that, we can go through the race results. Travis Walling in car number 90 started on pole and finished in first place for the final and the points-paying race of the night. Thomas Hins making up 2 places to finish in second. Challoner to third. But could it have been a different race if it weren't for the contact on lap 1? Joey Haynes up 5 spots. That's a great drive to get into 4th with Miles Crabb finishing in 5th. It's Brenton Foster and Justin Morton finishing where they started in 6th and 7th, with Jonathan Dance, Sam Harper, and Tom Abramadis rounding out the top 10. Great recoveries from the both of them. Harper from 28th up to 9th.
Yeah, great drive from him to get so many positions in that race. Gav Barber finishes in 11th position in the end, with Christian Abate in 12th. Nick Kuhn in 13th position, and Dan Stevens rounding out the top 14. Cody Richardson in 15th position, remembering where he was halfway through that second race. Joshua Thomas in 16th with Andrew Koska, and then we've got Smith, Bennett and Gamble rounding out the top 20. They're still on the lead lap as we go over the page. Top 26 on the lead lap in the end.
Oh boy, well, Roger Shank, first car to finish a lap down there, with Vickery, Robertson and McMillan rounding out the top 30. Sebastian Jackson down 2 laps, and our sole retirement from the third race is Mark Newton. Very unfortunate. He was running in the top 10, but the contact on lap 1 sent him straight into the tyre bundles, and he suffered heavy damage, too heavy to continue. Oh, wow. All right. We can finally take another breather after what was an incredible night of racing. It looks like we have second place Thomas Hins awaiting an interview. We bring him into the box now. Hinsey, congratulations on second place. You were in split 2 for the first couple of races, but wow, what a drive there. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't really come in expecting too much, because I've kind of done my usual thing of doing about 3 billion series this weekend, so I just did enough to pre-qual and hoped it was good. Yeah, and then I sort of rocked up there. I was like, let's see how it goes, see what happens. You know, it's Knockhill, obviously, in TCRs. It's going to be a bit chaotic. So yeah, thankfully it was towards the front in the first race, and I was able to keep it clean. Big apologies to Sam Harper, I have to say. We came together in the first race, which is why he hadn't come back through. Big neck code from what I saw, but either way, just big apologies that it affected him so much, but also epic effort from him to come back through and get a top 10 in the top split. That was a mega drive from Sam. So big kudos to Sam. Like he's probably the driver of the night to me. But yeah, got through that. And then yeah, that sort of being, and then again the second race got so lucky to not get destroyed by I can't remember who it was spinning at the first corner, but yeah, I was just if there was any net code, I was going to die. It was insane. I've looked on the replay and it was so close, but a bit of luck there. And then yeah, third race got a good launch, and guy beside me didn't, so I had to get that done. And then the 2 leaders came together, which is interesting to see. But managed to get on the spot, and yeah, tried to hound Travis as much as I could. But yeah, we're just too closely matched, really, pace to make anything happen. So but yeah, really happy to get second at the end of all.
Yeah, as you should be. Well, we move through to the Speedway 500 for the next round of the Majors Series, and that is a race that you have won in the past. That's certainly sorry. It's we finished on the podium at the very least in the past, so you must be looking forward to that too.
Yeah, that classic finish of me and Cam finishing the nose of each other. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was. Yeah, no, it should be a challenge. I mean, I haven't really, particularly in the last. I mean, I don't really do officials much at all anymore. I just really do league stuff. I don't really have time to do officials as well. So I haven't really touched oval much in the last sort of year. Particularly, I never really had time to do it too much. But particularly in the last year, I really have not touched oval much at all. And especially obviously those Delara IRO ones. Will be interesting. I haven't actually tried them yet, but I hear they're incredible. So pretty keen to give it a go, assuming that my work schedule works. It's very close to work with the daylight savers now. But yeah, assuming I can make it, I'm keen to give it a go, and hopefully yeah, just keep clean again and try and net a good result if I can.
All right. Well, congratulations once again on your podium, Hinsey. Who do you have to thank for it?
Yeah, well, we'll just be obviously Henry mostly for the paint. That was a good old classic Civic paint, that one. So it's good to bring out the old Civic again and give it the old lob. So and show off the amazing paint that Henry did for it. So thanks to Henry for that. And just big thanks to the whole crew there at HR. They're all amazing. Big thanks as well, obviously, to the majors. They as always put on a great show, and especially this year, a lot of different formats that go a bit over my very simpleton Aussie head. But I just show up and race where I need to. So But it's always cool to see, these different formats, and it mixes it up even more, which is, always a good time to try new things and different things. And then, yeah, big thanks to you guys for presenting it all in a fantastic way.
All right, thanks very much for joining us. Thomas Hens, second on the road here at Knockhill. First on the road was Travis Walling. Well, that was a good night for you in terms of results, Travis. Take us through it. A round win for you here. It must feel good.
Yeah, it does feel good. It's a little bittersweet. I really didn't want to win that last race like that. The biggest apologies to Christian. That was really not intentional. But yeah, no, I'm thrilled to have been there to even have this situation. Coming into this week, I could not drive these cars. I hated this so much. And yesterday something kind of clicked and it just all made sense. And I'm amazed I'm here right now. I'm actually kind of shocked that went so much better than I thought it would.
Yeah, evidently, touring cars not your forte going into this round, but yeah, you managed to get right on the pace, and despite that contact with Christian Challoner, still a great haul of points for you coming into this round. Though it did prove, I think, that it's very hard to pass at this track.
Oh, for sure, yeah. This track is not easy at all to pass. It's especially when everyone's running the same speed. I almost feel bad for how aggressive I was driving, but this track warrants it, and you have to do something before someone does it to you. But yeah, no, I'm thrilled to get out of here with decent points, go on to Indy, and hopefully have a little bit less dramatic of a race there.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck for the Speedway 500. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for your win tonight?
I have to give it up to the team. Ross Banfield especially, he works so hard on these cars. trying to get a set that we all liked. Especially with me kind of not working on the sets because I just hated this so much. So a huge shout out to him. Everyone else on the team, they were so supportive. Cure, LGMD, 2i, amazing charity. I'm proud to support them every race. And yeah, just everyone else that kind of supports us and tunes in.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. Travis Walling, winner of round 4 of the Majors Series, and final driver interview of the night is going to be Joey Haynes. And wow, what a result for you, Joey, after everything that you had to go through in that event, from 9th to 4th in the end in race 3. Just take us through your night. How were you feeling going into it? What were your feelings going into race 3?
I mean, we did a great job this week. The whole Evolve team really crushed the setup, and we have a wicked fast car. So I knew going in that we definitely had a car that could compete for wins and podiums, and I knew I just kind of needed to put it there. And unfortunately, I got to admit, I have no idea how to start these TCR cars. So every single race, I'd bog down in the standing start, and I'd lose about 6 positions. So then I'd have to kind of come back from that on top of starting a little further back in 9th. It was chaotic, but I just, tried to take advantage of other people's mistakes and push hard, set as many quick laps as I can, and I managed to get back up there with the podium guys by the end of it. So it felt good to have the pace this weekend.
Just take us through that final lap, or those final couple of laps, because you were making up huge ground on that battle for third with Challoner, Crab, Foster, etc. And then it just all went crazy in the last few corners.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of watching them and saw that they were starting to mix it up a little bit, and I was like, okay, you got your chance. Like, put your head down, put in your laps, and you can catch these guys. And sure enough, a couple laps to go, I kind of got up there, and I got a really good run on Miles, and just happened to be able to pull off the move quickly. And then, I mean, trying to pass Christian's a whole different story. That guy's pretty talented, and he's put in the work. So as soon as I kind of got behind him, I was trying to figure out how to make it happen. And we got to the final lap there. I actually made a little mistake in 3 and kind of dropped a wheel and thought it was over there. And then I saw Foster go off on the exit of the chicane and was kind of stunned, and managed to get it slowed up enough that I didn't have a repeat of the last race where I got hit at the end, and managed to get the car back to the line in P4. But I definitely think we had a podium in it. I'm a little disappointed not to be on it.
Well, regardless, it's still a really good result for you and a good haul of points. Who do you have to thank for it?
I mean, we got to thank everyone at Evolve: Andrew, Steve, Kevin, Nathan, all the guys who are going to be racing tomorrow in the Atlantic division. They did a great job on the setup for this car. And then, of course, we've got all of our sponsors, TNT Racing, we've got Joe's Pokestop on board, and of course, everyone else who's supported us along the way. And I mean, at the end of the day, we have to thank you guys as well. I mean, without you guys putting on terrific broadcasts like this, there wouldn't be as much fun for us to come do it. So thank you.
And thank you for joining us, Joey Haynes, 4th place here tonight at Knockhill. Well, that brings to an end the proceedings for the racing action. Of course, the next round of the championship is going to be the Speedway 500 in the Midwest of America, Jay. Looking forward to that one. Racing in the Dallara IR01, which it turns out is a fantastic oval car.
Yeah, been modified recently to add oval tyres and oval setups to it, and it's been a very, very big favourite within the community and drivers and spectators and everyone that's had a go at it on the oval side. So it'll be our first time covering that car at that track, and it's going to be very, very fun. Make sure you tune in Saturday the 6th of May, Sunday the 7th of May. The graphic's a little bit too small on my screen. I can't quite read it, even though I typed it up. Oh, there we go. I've just changed it so I can see it better. And we will bring coverage of the Fast 9 before we bring coverage of the race as well. So make sure you join us nice and early on Sunday morning if you're in Australia, and Saturday evening if you're in the States. It's going to be a fun one in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, indeed it is. We hope that you join us for that one. Thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in and talking in the broadcast chat as well. Great to see Jim Agan in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well, Jim. Been a while. Thanks very much for being with us through all this action, everybody. And also, one more reminder, we are supporting the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network for this race. Go to autisticadvocacy.org and lend your support there. And make sure to subscribe to us as well here on SimSpeed TV. Follow us on our socials. And thanks very much to Mike and the crew at the Major Series for putting this whole shebang together. And we will see you next time. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy, also commentating and providing these pictures from all of us here at SimSpeed TV. Bye for now.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.